Hey everyone, we are going to talk about building your tech stack. I think there's a couple things to consider, when you're going about building out what technologies you're going to use as you're making the jump from probably honestly QuickBooks and Excel into a real system, or maybe from a really legacy system into some new age stuff that wasn't built in the 90s. So that process, you can go a couple different ways.
Yeah.
So
what I see a lot of the times, and I don't necessarily agree with it, is that there's pain points in different areas of the company.
Yep.
And we find a spot solution to patch this area of the company, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. And then you end up with 17 different solutions, and then QuickBooks. So the most obvious case, or the most common thing, is project management. You have several PMs at your organization. So they're going to be the loudest body of people complaining about a certain situation. So project management always ends up coming up as a pain point for an organization. And if you haven't done a ERP implementation before, or software implementation before, you're like, okay, yes, let's just get a new project management solution, and then we can work on everything else later. So you've seen this happen, right?
Oh yeah, happens
and
all the time.
What's your opinion on it?
Well, I think what happens is people find out that we're getting new software, and everyone gets so excited. They're like, perfect, we're getting new software too. And it grows from, we need to replace QuickBooks to, we need to replace 8 systems. And it's easier to bite off the small systems. It just is. To put in a timekeeping solution, to put in a project management solution versus an ERP. But when you go that route and you start band-aiding, like you said, all these systems, and then the last piece is the ERP, you now have a problem of, what works with all these solutions?
And what can I do? So there's all these solutions, but some of those things can be handled within a full-fledged ERP. So it's a matter of, okay, I put the cart before the horse, and now I might need to get out of 4 of these contracts that I have with different spot solutions.
And it's more change for your team. It's more,
So I think, saying all of this, it's safe to say that probably 80% of the time, you should probably focus on changing your ERP first, or at least having a cohesive conversation about your entire organization before jumping into one's particular software. So
I agree with that.
I think that's something that even we had struggled with as an organization, of being like, okay, let's take a step back and look at all of the tools that we might need to run our business, and write down every possible feature that we might want in the future, and then start looking for solutions. And oftentimes, a lot of that, big chunk of that, can be handled within the ERP.
Sure can.
So, all of this preaching to say, I think that developing a roadmap of, or getting all your stakeholders, like all your different department heads, in a room and hearing the complaints of each different department before you buy your PM solution, before you buy your time tracking solution, is the right route. So then you can make a right decision with ERP or with project management or what have you.
Yeah, and I think it's worth saying, like, it's never one size fits all, right? Sometimes that's the right decision because it's just that big of a problem. But it is worth at least understanding where you're going on the ERP side before you do anything else. Because to your point, what if it's just an included module that you now have time cards? Like, do you really, maybe you do, maybe it has other features, but like you should know, right? You should know the justification for why you're going with what you're going with, and then does it integrate?
The integrations are the key point too. Because we're not saying don't have 5 different spot solutions. Sometimes it's better to best of breed. You want biometrics in your time tracking. You want the ability for your PMs to have a very robust built-out project management solution. Or you want to run payroll a specific way because you have 30 unions to answer to. There's all these different reasons to have solutions outside of your ERP, but not knowing the roadmap of what your tech stack is going to look like before you start pulling a trigger on things can be dangerous.
Yes, and it can cost you money and time is money, so more money.
So it locks you into long-term contracts, it locks you into potential change management,
Yeah.
integration issues. So know what you're doing before you get into these things.
Agreed. We're obviously, we are ERP, right?
Yeah.
That's where we stand, but we see all the pieces of it because we work with all the third-party solutions as well, and there's some really good ones out there that are absolutely worth investing in. We just want to make sure the order of operations makes sense.
Yeah.
So we try to tackle that as much as we can. We just see more success when someone goes with ERP first.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is awesome.